In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these 4 simple automated farms so that you can spend more time exploring the world and actually killing things, and less time tirelessly clicking away farming them all manually.
Fun? This is hard work.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Kane, and today I'll be showing you step by step how to set up these automations. A lot of the videos out there on YouTube right now are pretty complex and require a degree in electrical engineering to actually understand. But what are they actually saying? But if you're like me and you just want to get that wood or never run out of tin again, then this video is for you. Seriously though, am I the only person running out of tin? If you like the sound of this and want to see more guides like this in the future, please do consider subscribing to the channel. But otherwise, let's just dive into the video. First on this list is the auto smelter. For each of these automations, I'm going to show you how to set them up from early on in a way that makes them easy to change and scale up in the future. Alright, so first off, we'll just start with a simple crude drill. We'll power that with a generator. And then we'll set up a smelter nearby, just here like this. So this is what most of you will have early on. And this is pretty easy to change and improve and scale as you unlock the automation objects. So as soon as you unlock the robotic arm, you can pop a robotic arm here, gets powered, and as you can see there, the ore immediately gets placed in the smelter. And of course, once you start getting plenty of scarlet bars, you'll be able to upgrade these drills for the improved versions like so. And then you just need to add some conveyor belts going into the robotic arm. And then over time, as you get more and more resources, you'll be able to add more drills all around until you have 8 drills working away at this ore. Of course, don't forget to power these drills. You can use more generators, you could use electrical wire, or you can use any conducting block like these light bulbs here to light up the area whilst it's mining away. And I also like to paint them to give them a bit of a red glow. And then the last thing to do here is simply to add your conveyor belts going all the way around. Make sure that you extend them out by 1 so that the next conveyor belt goes into this, and then it will loop all the way around. Be careful not to do this, which I have done many times, because these drills will make sure the ore just goes right off the end, which is not really ideal. And this will generate quite a lot of ore. And finally, you're going to want to just add another robotic arm going into the furnace and into the chest. You don't need to do this, but if you want them all to be in a chest, or you could even have this robotic arm putting all of the smelted bars onto another conveyor belt leading back to your base somewhere, and then you can have the robotic arm putting them into the chest there. So let's quickly take a look at that again, but for the galaxite ore. So we place 8 drills, like so. And you will get lots of these drills later on. You'll have so many resources from these automated farms that you'll be laughing. We'll set up the electrical wires all around. And then we'll have a robotic arm here. And then the conveyor belt, once again, all leading into that robotic arm. Just like so. And then of course you'll be using the large forge. And then this one, we'll put the robotic arm going into the forge and placing the ores into a chest, just like that. As you can see, these designs are very compact, but you can also extend them out. If you wanted to add conveyor belts, simply remove the chest and then place conveyor belts leading all the way to your base, like so. And then at the end, you just have robotic arms placing all of these ores into your chests, like so. Really simple, really efficient. You'll get a lot of ore from this. Next on the list is the wood farm. You're going to need a wood for a lot of different things in this game, for planks and all sorts of decorative items. So let's get into it. So for this one, you're just going to want to plant a root seed. like so. Make sure that you water it, just like this. And then you're going to want to surround the root seed with tiles, like so. This way it can only grow in this direction here. So then do the same again, surround that pathway that you want it to go down, like so, for 6 blocks. And then at the end, you can place a drill, like so. And then when this root seed grows out its wood, it will hit the drill and be farmed. And then, just behind the drill, we'll put 1 conveyor belt like this, a robotic arm, and then table saw just behind it. And of course, all of this is going to need power, like so. So this is the really basic setup. This isn't going to yield too much. So what you're going to want to do next is mark these squares here for later on. And what they're going to do, you're going to break them, and you're going to make out another little framework here for them to grow into, like so. Once this wood is fully grown up to this drill, break these tiles, and then the wood will continue to grow into these new spaces. And then from there, simply place another drill here. Make sure to power all your drills, and then simply point more conveyor belts into your robotic arm. And now this is going to make you quite a lot of planks. And of course, you can just put a robotic arm here, and then a chest just below that one. And then you're going to get a lot of planks doing this. And they'll all end up in this one chest. Now, if you don't want just purely planks and you want to actually get some wood from this farm, I like to break this block here, or whichever one's right on the end, and then you can point another conveyor belt outwards away from this robotic arm into the sawmill, and instead point it directly into that wood lane right there, and then you'll get wood in this chest as well. And of course, all of this is going to need power, so let's just pop another generator right in the middle. Once these 3 wood lanes have grown out, what you want to do to maximize the yield even further is break these blocks in the middle, like so. And now we're going to hoe this land here on each side, and we're going to place a root seed on all of these. And then just water those root seeds. The only space for the wood to grow into will be the one next to the drills. And now that you've got these root seeds on either side of the empty square now, they're going to have more chances to spawn a wood block into that area. Next up is the slime farm. Slimes are great for making potions, which will be invaluable later on when fighting the final boss, aka the grub hoarder. So for the slime farm, the design is going to be quite straightforward. I like to do mine 9x9, and a nice way to plan that out is to use the large hoe, which is 5x5. Do one like this, come here, bring it in by 1, just like so. And then same on this side, bring it in by 1 to the middle. And there you have a 9x9 square. And then put your slime all around this, just like so. And then, before you have access to drills, I'm sure your slime farm might look something like this. And this will work quite effectively. This will kill slimes, but you will have to come here and manually pick all of these drops up. So what you can do instead later on, once you've unlocked all your drills to automate this farm, simply replace all of the spike blocks with the big drill. And then of course, don't forget to power all of these drills. Like so. And then, after you've laid out all your drills, just put a large ring of conveyor belts, not drills, all around to one central location. Like so. And then just at the end here, place a robotic arm and a chest, and you have a really simple slime farm. So the slimes will spawn in here, like so, and they will walk into the drills eventually and perish. And as you can see, the drills will pull the slimes and all of the other loot into this chest once we actually power our robotic arm. There we go. Next up is the the animal produce farm. I promise no animals were actually hurt in the making of this video. So, for the animal produce farm, we're going to make this one 5x5. I've played around with its design quite a bit, and you can definitely easily make it 4x4, but I'll show you why I'm making it 5x5 towards the end. So simply start by placing a animal feeder in the top left corner here, and then add some conveyor belts going towards the end of the square, just like that. And then we're going to have two robotic arms going into the conveyor belt like so. Add a generator to power these two robotic arms. And then over here, we're going to have another conveyor belt pushing it down like so. And then we're going to have a drill just here. And then we'll have one conveyor belt going here, one conveyor belt going into that one. And then we'll have a robotic arm picking up any drops that end up on this conveyor belt, which will then place everything into this chest. Now, we've got some empty spaces to fill here, so let's put some decorations, I suppose. Let's start with this lamp, which as usual I'm going to paint red. Well, let's make sure that's powered. And then we're going to surround this whole enclosure with glass so we can see our beautiful creation in action. Just like so. And I would leave a little entrance here as well before you get your cows in, or whichever animal you choose. I like to just get a piece of food that they like to eat. The standard cow cattle, which I'll be showing in this design, they like to eat a few different foods. You can use the bomb pepper and just lure them onto this conveyor. Once this is filled with some food, the cows will stay on the conveyor and eat from the food, and they won't be able to get off the conveyor because they're too slow. Make sure you cover that back up once you're done. And we are also going to want to fill out all of these blank spaces that we've created inside so that there's no squares for any other creature to spawn on. So let's just fill this with trees. Why not? So the next thing to do is simply to fill this trough up with some food for the cows to eat. Once the trough is full, lure your cows in and they will go to eat from the food, and then they'll be stuck for eternity. And so you can even automate this trough getting filled partially by adding a robotic arm going here, and you can add a chest over here, and then you simply have to drop some food in this chest and it will fill up this trough here. And then you could set up a little farm just behind it for the food that you're filling the trough with. And this is why I made it 5x5, so that it's kind of symmetrical. Simply fill this with food, And you can automate the watering by using a sprinkler, like so. You will have to come by every now and again to harvest this and then either put it straight in the trough, or you can put it into this chest and it will fill the trough for you. This robotic arm and chest setup is kind of better if there's a lot of conveyor belts going to, say, your farm towards your animal produce farm. Something like this. You can fully automate filling up the animal feeder with a mushroom farm, but to keep things simple, I just did it this way. Then you can just put your chest here. Like so, and just fill this with the food that you want to put in. And of course this would need to be powered, like so. And then your food will go from your farm towards the animal feeder. If you've managed to follow along with the video, you should have 4 automated farms, giving you the freedom to just go out and explore, build out your base, and kill some bosses, instead of playing Cookie Clicker Simulator, chopping trees, and mining ores. If you've enjoyed this video, please do consider giving it a like, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, please do subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot to me. Or if you have any feedback on any of these farms, please do let me know down in the comments. I'm going to continue to experiment with these to make sure I can get them as efficient as possible. Thanks again for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you all in the next one.